Hello, today I'm going to be unboxing and giving you a first look at ASRock's X570 Taichi Razer Edition. So as the name suggests, the big feature that differentiates this motherboard from the original X570 Taichi is the integration of Razer Chroma, which is built directly into the motherboard. So you're going to be able to use Razer signups to control all the lighting on the motherboard and anything that you plug into it. So it sounds like ASRock have made an already great motherboard even better. So let's take a look and get it unboxed. So working our way along the bottom of the motherboard from left to right, first of all we've got a HD audio connector. Next to that we've got two RGB connectors. There's a 3-pin 5V addressable header and also a 4-pin 12V non-addressable header. Next to that we've got a Thunderbolt AIC header where you can plug in ASRock's Thunderbolt add-in card and bring Thunderbolt connectivity to your build. Next to that, we've got two of the motherboard's 4 chassis fan headers. Beside that, we've got two USB 2.0 headers. Then we've got a power LED and speaker header. Then we've got a postcode display, followed by a reset and power button. Just above these buttons, we've got a clear CMOS jumper and button. Finally, at the bottom right-hand side of the motherboard, we've got our system panel header, where you're going to plug in the cables coming from your case's front I/O, things like your power and reset button. Working our way up the motherboard, we've got 8 SATA connectors. Then we've got a right-angled USB 3.2 Gen 1 header. Next to that, we've got a front panel Type-C USB 3.2 Gen 2 header. Above this, we've got another chassis fan header, followed by our second USB 3.2 Gen 1 header, and this one is forward-facing. Then we've got our 24-pin ATX power connector. On the top of the motherboard, we've got a further 2 RGB connectors, and again we've got one 3-pin 5V addressable connector and one 4-pin 12V non-addressable connector. Just below these, we've got our CPU fan header. The motherboard does have a second CPU fan header, which is just down at the bottom left-hand side of the RAM. The motherboard's fourth and final chassis fan header is just at the bottom left-hand side of the CPU socket. On the top left-hand side of the motherboard, we've got two 8-pin EPS connectors. The motherboard has a 16-phase power design with 60-amp chokes. We've got pretty beefy heatsinks over the VRM, and these are connected with a heat pipe. In the middle of the motherboard, we've got an AM4 socket with standard cooler mounting brackets. It is important to mention that this motherboard is compatible with Ryzen 5000 series CPUs right out of the box. The motherboard has 4 DDR4 slots, which can accommodate up to a maximum of 128 GB of RAM at a maximum speed of 4666 MHz. As we've already mentioned, the motherboard features AMD's X570 chipset, and as you'd expect, it's actively cooled with a fan. Just above the chipset fan, we've got the Razer Chroma RGB logo. The motherboard has 4 PCIe sockets, and it's good to see there's steel armour on the by 16 sockets. The top socket is Gen 4 by 16, then we've got a Gen 4 by 1 with two Gen 4 by 16 sockets below that. If we go ahead and remove the M.2 SSD heatsinks from the motherboard using the included screwdriver, you'll notice that this motherboard has three M.2 SSD sockets, and importantly all three of them will offer Gen 4 by 4 speeds. It is important to note that if you install an M.2 SSD in the bottom socket, PCIe 4, which is the bottom by 16 slot, will be deactivated. Looking at the rear of the motherboard, it's nice to see that ASRock have included a backplate, which should add some strength to the motherboard and prevent it from bending. It's nice to see that the motherboard includes ASRock's flexible integrated I/O shield, which should mean mounting the motherboard in the case will be problem free. Taking a look at the rear I/O and working our way down from top to bottom, as we'd expect in a high-end motherboard, we've got both a clear CMOS button and flash BIOS button. Below that, we've got our antennas for our Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. Below that, we've got two USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, and you'll notice that one of them has a white marking around the outside, and this is the port that you're going to have to plug your USB into if you want to use the BIOS flashback function. Just to the right of this, we've got a PS2 mouse and keyboard port. Just below this, we've got a HDMI 2.1 port, which will support a maximum resolution of 4K by 2K at 60 Hz. Just below this, we've got another two USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports with a further two USB 2.0 ports just below this. Next to the USB 2.0 ports, we've got a single 2.5 gigabit LAN port. The motherboard supports ASRock's Killer LAN and Killer Double Shot Pro technologies, meaning you shouldn't have any problems getting both a fast and stable connection. Below this, we've got two USB 3.2 Gen 2 headers. One is Type A and one is Type C. At the bottom, we've got all the standard audio ports, and it is important to note the motherboard offers both 7.1 channel HD audio and Nihimic audio. So I think you'll agree this is not only a great looking motherboard, but it's a motherboard with a whole host of great features. I've already got a build all lined up for this motherboard. I'm going to be working with ASRock Team Group and BQuad to make a PC designed for creators. So I'm hopefully going to start working that video within the next week or so. So keep an eye on the channel for that video. It'll be coming shortly. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching.